West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, a very good morning to you waking up to us. This is still the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV with me, Farish Majid, and today is Thursday, and that means that the weekend is just around the corner. I don't know how you are prepared for the weekend, but definitely I know you who loves also really going out over the weekends, definitely you already have the monies, and that is why you are just waiting for Friday to come, or maybe Saturday perhaps, depending on which day you also want to go out. But what we are saying is we must also really spend responsibly for those who are planning to move out, because definitely the year is coming to an end. Rather for you to sort of just go out and spend that money like that, we are saying you must ensure that you use that money productively so that sort of you are not left out, and that is something which at the end of the day to me would mean quite a lot, and that is one reason actually we are here as West Nile TV Kokoliriko live show to keep you reminded and updated of your mandates sort of as a person, as a citizen, as maybe a foreigner living in Uganda, to sort of ensure that you do not also spend the monies like that. And that is the reason as to why we are saying when the weekend is just around the corner, because tomorrow is Friday. Absolutely, so many people must be excited about that, because really somebody who might really wish to have the weekend quickly. That is solely a reason as to why Friday may always be a good day for you, because you feel over the weekend you are not going to be working and you feel like you need to relax. And that is also really one thing that which to me at the end of the day will mean quite a lot. But we are saying people must ensure that they really also really abide by some of the rules. First of all, the financial rules, so that also you do not also go past what you are planned for, because usually we say work without play makes Jack a dull boy, and that is also a reason as to why some people may opt to go for other activities really over the weekend. So many people have also different activities that they go for, and this is also depending on what they wish and what they like, because we do understand that some people who prefer night clubbing, that is the reason as to why over the weekends they usually prefer to go for that. And then there are those who love going for soccer, and you find them also that's where they find their pleasure at, and they really go for that. And then there are others who also go for other activities I wouldn't necessarily want to mention here. But what we are saying is we are back to also begin the Thursday edition. Today is the 23rd day of the month of May. We are just left with about 7 days that is to come up to the end of the month, and that is on the end of May, and that is when we shall be ending, that is to the month of the martyrs. But really information from Namgong indicates that the first batch of the martyrs from that side has already entered, and I will be giving you more details to that. But really to begin the discussions right from West Nile sub-region, because usually we say east or west, home is the best. And yesterday we did see the official commencement of the 3-day retreat of the resident district commissioners and the city commissioner, because in West Nile we are privileged to say that we have only one city commissioner, that is Charles Ichogor, who is actually the resident city commissioner for Arua City. And yesterday we did see the official launch for the retreat of this exercise going on. That's at White Castle Hotel, which is 3 days, and this is only where we did see Honorable Amelia Chamba, the former Minister for Trade, who is now a presidential advisor on industry, also launching this activity on behalf of the ministry. That's the ministry of that's the office of the president. That is Honorable Millie Bambalanda in there. This is something we did see happening yesterday, where the event was officially launched. But I must inform you that we did see so many of the RDCs also really brainstorming, because if you really look at the RDCs today, they are the representatives of the president, and they really have a lot to do. And that is also when it comes to also the socio-economic transformation and economic monitoring of the various government projects. And this also said to be the heads of security. But on a good note, we have been informed that the resident district commissioners from West Nile sub-region are working in teamwork, and that is one thing I must say is quite good, because for them to work as a team, it is really usually quite good, because we do understand that also sometimes once they do not work together, definitely then that's when we are going to be seeing cases like how rumor had it that some of the RDCs were actually fighting themselves. Yeah, that's where you find the boss fighting the deputy, and now the numbers have gone to 3. I don't know what is going to be happening in that office. But usually also yesterday we did see Millie Babalanda through her message so passed on, that is by also Amelia Chambada in there, asking these resident district commissioners plus their deputies, because this meeting is entirely for the resident district commissioners, and the deputies as the assistants have not been invited because they are yet to undergo induction. That's a Chankwanzi in a date that is yet to be communicated. And that is one thing also I must say happened yesterday, where we did see almost all these RDCs across all local governments in West Nile sub-region also being part of that exercise. And this is quite amazing, and exercise also really shall be going on again today and tomorrow as well, and that's also really where they expected, first of all, also really address a number of issues here and there. But one thing that really impressed me about the exercise is the fact that they were all called upon to also really prepare for what we call retirement, because retirement usually also really is one thing that also gets some people by surprise, and given the fact and the nature of this job also being by appointment is actually one reason also really I want to say calls for preparations, because if at all you are thrown out of that position which you have been enjoying privileges, first of all, where you're entitled to a free driver, where you're entitled to a free car, definitely also really that could also really be a source of also really shock to you. And that is why sometimes people die after leaving jobs in there, because they're not prepared, because definitely they are subjected to a kind of life they are not used to. And that is why we are saying for those who are into these offices, you must ensure that you are prepared so that also you are not caught off, that is unawares in there. And that is one thing also where we want to begin the discussions from, but you as the viewer also can still share opinions on what you think and what you feel these resident district commissioners also should be talked to and what they need to also address, because some of these resident district commissioners, I'm not pinning them, but you realize that also they feel they have reached where they're supposed to reach, because they really feel being also called, first of all, the president's representative. They feel even they're the president themselves. And that is why we are saying, much as you are into that office, you must always remember that you're a civil servant. You are not also really maybe somebody who is also maybe going to be eating money from just like that. And that is why they were called upon to also resist from tendencies of corruption. And that is only something which I must say has been also being told to them. And that is one thing that we are also called upon and reminded often to also really also keep on serving the nation diligently. Let's first correct the story of what exactly is happening there to paint us an image of what exactly transpired yesterday. And the same event will also be continuing today as well as climaxing tomorrow. The resident city and district commissioners from West Nile sub-region are undergoing a 3-day refresher workshop in Arua City to remind them of their duties as they diligently serve the nation as representatives of the president. The event, which started today on 22nd of May 2024, has attracted the attendance of the resident district and city commissioners, plus their deputies as well as the district intelligence security operatives, in order to retool them as they perform their duties. Honorable Millie Babalanda, the Minister in charge of Office of the President, represented by Honorable Amelia Chiambade, a senior presidential advisor on industry and Office of the President, asked the resident district commissioners plus their deputies to accord a friendly environment to the recently appointed assistants.
His Excellency the President and Appointing Authority has appointed 2 assistant RCs in each respective offices. Are they here? No. Oh, they went to Chakwanza? Yeah. In each respective office, the new staff are largely charged with general mobilization and promotion of patriotism. They are charged with general mobilization and promotion of patriotism. I hope you have received them in your respective offices. I hope that you will support them instead of fighting them.
Amelia went on to advise the resident district and city commissioners to prepare for retirement while still in service.
You don't realize that you have resources until you go into proper retirement. I realized I had a lot of bananas. I realized a banana plantation, but people were stealing them. I had all these ponds, but people were stealing the fish. This guy would ask me for feeds, but you didn't follow up. When you say let's harvest, he would say, no, sir, no, madam, that's all. He knows you're busy. But you come and harvest and sell. But you're busy. Yes. You're busy. Gallivanting all over. You're in Gulu. You're in Dubai. That life, my God. But you have to prepare for retirement. How prepared are you?
Emmanuel Walani, the Undersecretary at the Office of the President who represents Haji Yunus Kakande, the Permanent Secretary tasked the commissioners to effectively offer services to the citizens.
So colleagues, as the Presidency, it is our role and responsibility to guarantee that Ugandans get the highest caliber of services from the ruling government. And it's when you deliver on that, you get the trust of the citizenry to keep the social contract running between the NRM government and the Wananchi, not so?
Professor Nangoli Sudi, the Managing Director of Uganda Printing and Publishing Company, who is one of the facilitators of the training, asked the commissioners to diligently serve the nation.
The majority of the operation here are useful. And they are busy engaging in smuggling and the rest. Is that what we can do? We can't extend. Are we adding to our GDP? How is the sub-region contributing? What can we do better? These are the questions that you leaders in this place, who are appointed by the president, must be googling about and finding answers to. I am happy that your leader said that you always focus and work as a team. We need answers to this. How do we make sure that every living human being in this sub-region is more productive? It means we should kill some of these statistics and reverse them for the better.
Amy Mitala, the Resident District Commissioner for Koboko District, who also doubles as the Chief Whip of the Resident District Commissioners in West Nile Sub-Region, assured the nation of improvements in security, which he attributes to teamwork.
I want to report to you, Honourable Minister, that the security situation in the region is improving greatly. Even when we have our neighbors, big two neighbors, who have less control on their territories. But with help from the Secretariat, we've continued to talk to our neighbors, and day by day we are improving our relations with our neighbors. Honourable Minister, I want to thank my colleagues that I'm very, very sure that this is the most cohesive group in West Nile. We talk to each other, we have respect for each other, we advise each other, and we seek counsel from each other. So I want to thank my colleagues in front of you, and I want to ask us to continue doing that.
The three-day retreat, which began today on 22nd of May 2024, will climax on 24th of May 2024, where the leaders are expected to get retooled on aspects of development, which is one of the key goals of the National Reset Movement Party. Farish Majid, West Nile TV. That is the meeting of the Resident District Commissioners and the City Commissioner, because in West Nile Sub-Region we are just privileged and honored to be having one Resident City Commissioner, that is for Rural City, and he is none other than Charles Ichogor, and he is a well-composed gentleman. By the way, if I'm to talk about him, he is one person who is whom I've known as down to earth, and that is why we are saying, if at all, also maybe the rest of the Resident District Commissioners, more so the young ones into this office, also should emulate his character. That to me would be quite well, because there's no time you are going to be also hearing that Charles was involved in such maybe a scandal with somebody, and that is why we appreciate him, and we are saying he must also really continue to take on that behavior, which I really feel is quite called for and which is quite good, and at the end of the day that would also maybe mean a reason as to why he is still holding the position up to that level in there. And that is why we are saying, for those who are really out there and you want to also really maybe get into these offices, your character very, very much matters, and that is why you must always ensure that your relationship with the others is always quite well. And that is one reason also really why we want to put up the discussions that is in relation to the ongoing meeting and workshop that is of the Resident District Commissioners aside. And now let's look at something that is happening over the border points. And today you realize that so many of these issues are continuing to happen in West Nile Sub-Region, and these issues of border points, that is also really where you realize that also really this tribe is fighting the other. And if I'm to briefly mention to you some of the local governments that are having border points with them, with each other, and definitely you realize that also really quite many of this is happening in West Nile Sub-Region. You realize that the border points that is between Madiokolo and Terego is still continuing, as also other areas continue to witness the same. But really, when shall this matter be put, that is, to an end, is the question also really we should be asking ourselves this early morning, because this matter has taken long overdue, and this is not the only border point maybe where we are facing challenges. And recently, we recently concluded census excess, we did see a lot of these allegations being brought, because some people were saying this area is supposed to be on the other side, and that, but why are we counting it for the other district? And this is already something that didn't go on well with some of the local governments. But really, I want to say these are things that we must avoid, because if at all we are going to be fighting between each other, definitely that would also be quite bad. And that is one reason that's why we are saying the government must come to the intervention of also really this concern, such that also we do not have bloodshed and we do not witness any more bloodshed like how we have often witnessed. And that is the reason as to why we are saying, for those who are maybe in these various local governments, we must ensure that we work together to also really demarcate the borders properly. certainly maybe this boundary, but first of all, this boundary mistakes, these things of borders, I really feel sometimes they did more disservice to us in terms of reuniting us, because you realize that today we have Lubaras in Congo and they were just cut off that side because of border demarcation. But really how also maybe we are these Europeans also in their demarcation. These are things only where sometimes I feel very bad, because this has divided us today. We are having our brothers in South Sudan, the Kakwaz and the Kukus, who cannot also really call themselves Ugandan, yet we speak the same language, and I really feel so bad about it that we were cut the other side, and they were also really brought this side, really, which is quite unfortunate. And we are saying the border points and the issues related to border must also really be addressed timely in there, so that also really we would not have more lives lost, because if at all we continue to witness more lives, then definitely that tells us we may not be able to have a peace that we also want to reign. And that is why we are saying now the leaders, for them to also really put this side, these issues aside, so that also really their subjects and those whom they lead do not fight each other, also really must first of all use what we call maybe the previous boundaries, that also such that also really they can be able to now demarcate and show the people that much as you are a Terego living in Mariokolo, you are still a Terejan. You're not going to be called a Madi just because you are living in Mariokolo, just because you are cut off by the border points. And this is something that we should also be telling them. If you are an Alur, maybe living in let me say Power, maybe in Zombo, but definitely we are not going to be saying you are Madi because the border points just brought you the other side. And that is why we are saying for those who are living within the border points, this is where we are witnessing a lot of these activities happening, but we call upon them to also really ensure that this matter does not go further, because we want to see an end to what we are calling upon, we are calling conflicts, because border conflicts usually, we have witnessed a lot of bloodshed. Look at what is happening within the Madi sub-region, the upper border area between the Trolis and Mali, which has taken to me long overdue. And this is also really where we have seen most leaders often calling upon interventions from the top level, but which has not very much yielded anything here. What we are saying is this matter also really needs to be addressed timely, because if at all this matter is not addressed, we are still witnessing more lives being also really abducted. And we recently saw some people being killed, others also being injured as a result of that curious border points in there. But really, when shall this matter be addressed? And these are things that we also really need to understand and make sure that we talk about, because as also really people of Western Sub-region, this is also really where we have lost our brothers, where we have lost our sisters, where we have lost families, just because as a result of this unresolved long border points. And this is already where we are saying this matter is taking long and it must also be addressed timely, as already this matter does not also continue to go on. Because if you look at what is happening in Apa, so many issues have been raised about the same matter, and really this is where people are said to be fighting over the resources that belong in that area. Because if you look at the Apa forest and the other areas, this is said to be a mineral-rich area, and that is also what is causing the fights. And that is why we are saying the leaders, first of all, of Acholi sub-region and Madiland, must also really sit together and address this issue, rather than also really promoting what we call conflicts, which has also really led to lives being lost in there. But what we are saying at the end of the day, we are also really seeking for intervention of the head of state, so that also really this matter is put to an end, because that matter to me really has taken long, and I really wish if at all it is put aside, then that would be quite well. And now let's move on to the matters. Remember, we are just left with some few days. That is to the Uganda Matters Day celebrations, but really we are still having our people who are yet moving on, and this is also really where they are on their way. That is Namugongo Catholic Shrine. But really, as we are also really following up on, and remember we have a colleague, Alfred Jawok Dorombe, is also really moving with the team that is just up to what we call Namugongo Catholic Shrine, and this is also really where the final destination is going on. And I really feel that is an amazing experience, but really in the next maybe Matters Day, because we have been told now that there are Muslim matters, and definitely maybe I should also really join the Muslim matters in the next journey, and I will also maybe have to carry my kanzu along and walk to Namugongo Catholic Shrine in there, and that is already something maybe at the end of the day that would also really mean a lot, because I really feel that journey, really sometimes you get tired in the buses for the 10 hours. What about the different 10, maybe 10 or 15 days that is for trekking, and these are walking, they are not all actually using vans or cars, they are walking on foot. And this is really an experience that I really feel each and every Christian out there must also not miss out, because that is also really something where you are going to be having blessings, and God's blessings are usually one that people must not be able to miss. And that is also really where we did see police also issuing out guidelines to the same people to also really be very careful, because where they have reached, and now that is already where it is very much risky, because definitely yesterday we did see actually them passing already Mijera. That means they're already ahead of Mijera, and the distance also really from where they are Sasira, that is to Namgongo Catholic Shrine, is not very, very far, and they are just about to reach, and that means also within maybe the next 2 to 3 days, we shall be expecting them to reach Namgongo. But what we are saying is, as police is already calling upon them to first of all respect and also really maybe abide by the rules and also the place. Now we are seeing also really pilgrims, that is the pilgrims also really as they are moving, and now they have been called upon, and this is already where we were also being told that they reached actually an area called Sasira in Katugo, and as of yesterday they were in Nakasongola district, which is also their 7th day of the journey to Namgongo, and the police in the greater Nakasongola have also advised the foot pilgrims to observe the highest discipline, as they have also joined a busy highway to avoid falling prey to accidents. And this is only where at times we have seen also pilgrims also losing their lives in there, because sometimes the errant drivers, maybe due to also the occupation of the roads, we see them also ramming into the pilgrims, which is quite unfortunate. And that is why I want to advise the drivers, more so those who are also on these roads where the pilgrims are passing, where they must also ensure that they respect these people's rights, because they definitely are going for what God has also permitted them to do so. And that is why we are saying also it should not only be for those who are moving from Nebi, because Nebi Catholic Diocese is actually the one animating this year's celebrations, which is quite amazing and which is also quite exciting as well. And that's why we are saying the pride also really comes back to West Nile, because Nebi Catholic Diocese is actually one that is under West Nile also really. And that is why we are saying we are proud to animate this year's celebrations, and we are still celebrating with the Christian families. But really we are saying as the pilgrims are still on their way, they must ensure that they respect the issued guidelines that police has also given out in place, that also really they do not also really get into conflict or maybe with the law, and also really being caught up by accidents in there which wouldn't be quite well, and that would also really be very big issues here. Maybe let's first connect to here and see the videos of how this people are trekking, and Alfred Jawok is also really moving with the team, and we wish them all the best, that is to their final destination. We also really wish for them to come back safely, and that is really something that we are going to be following up on. And remember, the next month is actually when they would be expected to come back, because that is already when the Martyrs' Day celebrations will be taking place. And maybe a brief also the history about this day. And remember, this day is celebrated, that is to honor about 22 people who were actually murdered on orders of Kabaka Mwanga, who was also the king of Buganda, who actually did disagree with this boy here. And after that disagreement, he ordered for this boy to be banned, and that is also how the Uganda Martyrs celebration has come into existence today. And really I want to say this is actually one thing that has identified Uganda, and very soon also we expect pilgrims also from other parts of the country, maybe the world, to also really come and also celebrate the Martyrs' Day with the Ugandans family. And that's only where we are saying, apart from also maybe the whites coming from Nyege, we also want to see them coming, that is for Martyrs' Day, because they know one thing about Uganda. And this is only where, if you talk about Christianity in Uganda, they will also very much quickly rush to the Uganda Martyrs. And that is only why we are saying they should also really move to celebrate the Uganda Martyrs celebration. Not only why we also want to, and the reason is quite simple, we do not also want to see them just coming for bad and the moral things. We want to see them also coming for these spiritual things, which would also really be quite well. We want to see them coming in numbers, just like Nyege, how they are coming, because if you look at what is happening in Nyege and Jinja, usually we are told so many people come from different parts of the world. But really we want to see the same also really with the spiritual activity, which is the Uganda Martyrs celebrations, which to me will be quite well. Let's have a video of that, and also really maybe to tell us what exactly is happening to these people.
The police in Greater Nakasongola have advised Nebi foot pilgrims to observe the highest discipline as they have joined busy highway to avoid falling prey of accident. When the pilgrims arrived in Sasira in Katugo, Nakasongola district on their 7th day of the journey to Namugongo, Assistant Superintendent of Police Robert Munezero, the officer in charge Katugo Central Police Station, says the pilgrims have joined a busy road than before, and this requires every pilgrim to be disciplined on the road. While addressing the pilgrims at Sasira Primary School, where the pilgrims will spend the night for another journey, Munezero assured the pilgrims for their security on such a busy highway.
And as you have seen, we are doing our best to see that these all pilgrims are secure on this highway. Not only you, but even these others who are coming here tomorrow and tomorrow but one. The security is very tight. We are going to guard you during the day and during the night, and escorting you from one police station to another station. Thank you.
Early this week, Reverend Father Melchizedek Thokerunga, the curate Nebi Cathedral Parish, expressed worry about overspeeding by government vehicles and some private drivers.
And we will pray that, if possible, they will respect the pilgrims. For all of us who are moving, we are moving. It is a journey of faith, and we don't wish that their driving, their speed should affect us in our journey of faith.
The foot pilgrims have covered 281 kilometers from Nebi to Katugo in Nakasongola district, where they will spend one night for another journey of faith to Namugongo tomorrow. Behind me is St. Kizito Sasira Primary School in Nakasongola district, and the pilgrims have trekked for over 281 kilometers right from where we started the journey in Nebi district. And as you can see, this is a busy road, and the police here in Katugo have cautioned the pilgrims to be very, very careful on the road as we continue with the journey.
Now, this is also to the fraternity of the media, and this is only where media practitioners are said to be going through a lot. And look at really some of the challenges that media practitioners are going through. You will be able to realize that, first of all, there's intimidation, and really where sometimes the journalists' lives are being threatened, where others' lives are being intimidated. But really, we are saying also really that shouldn't go on, and that shouldn't be the case. And many times we have also seen journalists losing their lives, and that is why the World Press Freedom Day is actually there. And recently we did see that happening this month, by the way, which was just about around 3rd. And it's only where we did see the journalists also really celebrating their important day. But what we are saying is journalists also really must also really ensure they work together, because teamwork is actually the way to go in terms of also really addressing these concerns here, because many times we have seen journalists being bantered, and recently in Massacre we also did see equipment of journalists being destroyed, and that's only where it is also really alleged that these are supporters of the National Platform Party at a funeral, which I must say is an incident that must be condemned, because we must condemn these instances, because really it paints a bad image for journalists also to continue to go on and also already pass through some of these activities where their lives are first of all being intimidated, where their lives are being threatened, where journalists are being bantered, and also the issues about censorship, which is also really a great concern. All this must be addressed. And today we have so many laws which I really feel, if at all those who are not feel maybe welcome and with, they should also really seek, that is also really maybe the appeal of law. And that's why we are saying we still have many laws today. We have the Computer Misuse Act, and also which has also just been passed, and recently also now that law is being implemented. We also have so many other laws, and also really so many laws could talk about. Even the matter laws, the Constitution also talks about also really how journalists should be performing their work. And that is why we are saying people must ensure that the rights and the respect, and also give the respect that is to the journalists, because journalists also really, their right is also really there to also really keep the people that is informed. And also they do that quite simple, because usually as journalists we say we don't have the guns, we are not soldiers, but what we have is the pen and the paper, and we also really something which I feel must be respected. And now in a Jumani district, the leaders are calling upon the journalists also to also really work together, and that's also in terms of addressing their concerns. And also we did see this also during a sensitization meeting, where the journalists also were called upon to be safe while also really exercising their duties in there, which also really I must say is quite well, because journalists also really are there, first of all, to act as the watchdogs, and this is already where they must hold the leaders accountable, and which is something also really sometimes which does not go on well with some of the leaders. And this is also really something that is clearly manifested, where we have seen journalists also really being bantered, where we have seen journalists being beaten, which is really quite unfortunate, and something which I must say shouldn't go on, because if at all this continues to happen, we are going to be seeing many people being pushed away from the love of profession. I really don't know where that will also put maybe the people at, and I really want to say that is also something that shouldn't go on, because during riots we see people targeting mostly journalists. I don't know why, but this is also something which has also at times also really showered the relationship that is also really between the journalists and the security agencies, where we have seen security agencies also really bantering journalists, which is also something I must say is quite bad, and something that shouldn't go on. And this is already a reason as to why we are here to keep informed and say people must respect and also ensure that the journalists who who are doing their duty, which is sorry to act as the watchdogs and that's sorry as the fourth estate, because their mandate surely is sorry to hold those people with power accountable. And whom am I meaning? It is the people in the offices whom we are supposed to be handling and also holding accountable. We are not also there to do bad things, and that's also something at the end of the day I want to also ask the journalists. Now let's look at the video and also what the leaders are exactly saying in Ajuman district in relation to this matter.
Due to the challenges that many journalists are going through in their daily activities, district leaders in Ajuman district have come out to sensitize the journalists on how to be safe while exercising their profession. Honorable Ondwakurina Wakodra, the Secretary for Production Ajuman District Local Government, appeals to journalists to work together with other technical people and sector they are giving the information to, but not only among themselves as journalists.
Sharing information not only among you people. Try to indulge the technical under that sector that you are giving the information to. You will find work will be together. And I think our work will be seen and being visible amongst us. Protection of journalists. We love you people. We really love you. We know that your work makes us know everything. Sometimes things that we don't know, we learned it from you people. And your protection is in our hands.
Mr. Peter Taban, the resident district commissioner for Ajuman district, said journalists should be sober while at work and be flexible. Mr. Taban also called on journalists to identify security personnel, harassing them for easy action against such officers.
So please, when you find yourself in trouble with the police, with the army, the names are always there. Just pick that. When they want the camera, give the camera. You just be sober. You know, sometimes when you also there is something they say in the military, that when you fall in an ambush, behave according to what they say. When they say sit down, fall down quickly. Stand up, stand up. Give this, give. But be marking. Who is this person? How does he look like? Check if he's a police officer, check the names. You just bring those things. My friend, we shall fix that person until he will cough it up.
For several times, journalists in Ajuman district are facing challenges like harassments, bullying, and insecurity among others. Oraku Benson Pastore.
This is happening at the national scene, and this is at Mulago National Health, that's Referral Hospital, where the Minister of Health has launched what we call the minimally invasive surgery at Mulago National Referral Hospital that will involve smaller incisions, shorter recovery time, and minimal scars in there, which is really a great achievement, which we must also really appreciate in there. This is only where Dr. Jaina Rutha Cheng has said the surgery exercise is also really, and state-of-art of an endopsy center is a significant milestone also really in the country's healthcare, which I really first say is quite good because really many times we have seen people complaining about also really accessing health facilities in there, and really such initiatives is one thing that also really must be appreciated. And in a traditional open surgery, a surgeon also really makes one large cut, that is to see part of your body, and also that they are operating on. Meanwhile, in a minimal invasive surgery, the surgeon also uses small tools, cameras, and lights also really that fit through several tiny cuts in your skin in there. This allows the surgeon to perform what we call the surgery without necessarily opening a lot of skin and muscles. And this is quite good because I really feel that this is first of all going to be reducing the pain, where post bodies were cut very wide to also access what is inside for the surgeries to be carried out. And this is only where we must commend the government of Uganda first of all for that. And this is something which I really feel is quite amazing, and at the end of the day which we must all appreciate. And according to health experts, the conditions only that can be handled with this type of surgery include what we call cancer and other diseases or other conditions affecting the disease and the hearts, lungs, and intestines, also the stomach, as well as liver, ovary, and uterus. And this is something where we are going to be seeing that happening. And Dr. Rose Bianyima, the health director, who is also really the radiologist and upscale of the minimal invasive surgery, and the endoscopy also center was made possible also through financial and technical also support from government of Uganda and the government of Korea in there. And this is also something where we must appreciate the government of Korea, first of all, for extending this help in there. And endoscopy, according to the scientist is a procedure done by that's to examine structures inside your body that's up close and to detect diseases such as cancer in there. And this is also something I must say is quite amazing. We must also really appreciate, given the fact that also really many times people have been complaining about also really certain diseases in there. And an autopsy also according to a scientist is really something where I did mention to you earlier on. And during an autopsy, a healthcare provider also really places a long thin tube that's an autopsy inside your body, and usually also really through an area or such as the stomach or intestines they need to check. And most of the autopsies also have a light and a special also really camera that at the end of the day the doctor sees what is inside your body. And I really feel what we want to now see finally is the implementation, and this is really where we want to ask the doctors to do what they are going to be doing, and that this initiative was already very, very well in there. So really more lives cannot be lost, and this is something which I feel is quite good. And we must also appreciate what we call innovations, and this is really where we also want to appreciate also what we call development, also really in technology. And Dianyima, in a speech read by that is Acting Deputy Director Dr. John Sekabira, said the minimal invasive surgery center and endoscopy center game changers in our healthcare delivery. And I really feel this is also something that is quite good. What remains is rather what we call implementation, because without implementation necessarily we may also see a number of people going through a lot of challenges. And that is why we are saying the investment worth 1.9 billion. This is also where we did see the ambassador of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Park Sang, also said in addition to the support of that is $500,000, which is about 1.97 billion. That's for the upscaling minimum invasive surgery. And the endoscopy also center, they have also given a lot of support. That is solely to Mulago Hospital, where they seek to improve that is efficiency, first of all in service delivery and infection control, which has also really been a great challenge this country. But what we are saying is we want to see an end to the death that has been happening in country, and that's something I feel could be quite well, and that's something where we are coming to a short commercial break, which also really ushers us into the next topics. And this is where we must also really ask you to stay tuned as we bounce back shortly. This is Kokoliriko Live Show, the Thursday edition with me, Farish Majid, and we hope you are having a wonderful time. For now, let's first have the short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Come back now. Let's look at what's happening in the world of politics, where we are seeing former FDC party president, that is retired Colonel Kizza Besigye, who is also now known as the four-time presidential candidate. And we did see him advising opposition forces to shun what we call internal divisions, which have also really mad a number of political opposition groups, which have also really not left him out in there, and work jointly to eject President Museveni's government, which has been in power for nearly 4 decades. And this is something we did see happening yesterday. And according to former Forum for Democratic Change party president, no single political party in Uganda currently can single-handedly cause change regime. That's something, even if also they win the next election, that's something also did say in there. And this is something also I must say is a reality, because recently we have been talking about the divisions that's within the opposition and what we call opposition within opposition, where we are seeing some of the opposition members opposing their colleagues, which is really what we call the opposition within opposition, which something I must say has been also really there, where we have seen sometimes opposition groups also really that's also really implicating and also really pinning their members and also colleagues of also really being malls, which is something that has been there. But really we are saying this matters must be addressed, as we did see the four-time presidential candidate Colonel retired Kizza Besigye also stressing that the party also leaders and supporters need to win the struggle, that is by also peaceful means without using a gun. But really do people still have the gun? That's something I must say which also can't be possible, and that's why we are saying the ballot is actually what people must use, that is already to win the next general election. What does that call for? If at all maybe the opposition wants us to retain what maybe wants to win the parties, also maybe wants to win the government in the next elections, definitely they must also ensure first of all the matters first and the conflicts within themselves is addressed. And if these matters are not put aside, then definitely we are likely to witness what is happening currently to go on, and something which I feel is really quite unfortunate and quite unfair at the end of the day, which also really plays a crucial role first of all in disintegrating these opposition groups further, and also really something which I must say shouldn't also go on. And we did see Kizza Besigye also reiterating that the regime change in Uganda is possible even before 2026 general elections if the oppressed appreciate that they are under dictatorship and misrule of what we call the Museveni's government in there. That's something we did see happening in there. And unlike in other regimes, unlike in other regions where FDC members allied to Katonga faction, Dr. Kizza Besigye belongs, have been also urging him to contest for president again in 2026. In Masaka Party, also the other politicians who will carry the opposition flag also have also called upon that. And that is something also I feel I need to talk about. And during a consultative meeting that's in Bushenyi, Shaka municipality last month, Dr. Kizza Besigye also said he would not stand for president at 2026, despite the continued pressure from party members to contest for the highest also position again in there. And Kira Municipality Member of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda, who is also the spokesperson for Forum for Democratic Change, Katonga faction, said also they are infiltration of political parties by the regime's shouldn't also the bother members provided by the regime, also provided that they remain committed to the struggle to liberate Uganda in there. This is something also where we did see Semujunganda asking upon maybe those opposition funds not to sort of give up on because of the different maybe infiltration that has gone on, but rather he urged them to also continue having the belief that one day the government also will be going to them, but really that's something also we did see happening. And this is something I also want to remind you of, because this matter continues to go. If it continues to go on, I don't know where this will be able to put the opposition groups at, because we are saying this matter shouldn't go on. And during the last presidential election of 2021, Dr. Kizza Besigye turned down also the party members also plead to contest, as saying he did not also believe in the electoral process. And that's somewhere we did see first of all where he did also lay his also fears, because first of all the electoral commission is being appointed by the president. This is only where he did also maybe put aside his intention that is also contest in there. But what we are seeing now, what we are seeing right now is that the guerrilla leader also is the state, and this is where we have seen the opposition groups also often also really raising their concerns or what. But what we are saying is that we, if at all we maybe want to see a regime change, first of all, this is to the opposition groups. First of all, they must ensure that the opposition within opposition is put aside, because most of the times we have seen that happening, but without necessarily also being addressed in there. During the 2016 general election, which Dr. Kizza Besigye contested, the electoral commission declared Mr. Museveni winner, where he garnered that is 5,900 about votes, and this is also where we did see Kizza Besigye also coming on with some also a lot in there. But what we are saying is we are still following up on that matter, and we want to see an end. First of all, maybe to these fears amongst the opposition, but how possible can these fears be put aside is the question also where I need to ask you, the viewer, to also share your opinions on. Feel free to drop your comment in there, the comment section, and I will be able to already read it through in there. But now let's look at what is happening elsewhere. We are now looking at, let's first talk something small about the Uganda matters, because earlier on we talked about them, where we talked about ours who have reached around also Nakasongola, and we are now being informed that the first batch of pilgrims have arrived. That's Uganda Matters Namgongo. Ahead of that, the Matters Day celebrations in there. The first batch of the pilgrims have started arriving at the Anglican site, that is also Namgongo, 12 days also before Uganda Matters also celebrations due to June also in there. And the arrival with the preparations on the ground, which are also in high gear, with several also really also workers seen tidying up the place to ensure that they are ready to welcome the arrival. So is something that we are seeing happening. Then the pilgrims also indicated that they endured all the difficulties they encountered, first of all, on their way just among the pilgrims to start up. That is also really, that is God's blessings also, which are also being bestowed upon them. And one of the group also members whom we have seen arriving there is Miss Catherine Akumuru, who is also really 60 years also, who said she came all the way from Lira, which is under West Langodas, in the intending to be among the first 5 pilgrims. And also I must say that is really where her excitement is. And whereas she wanted to walk, that's from Lira to Namgongo, she was affected by that's the partial close of Karuma Bridge, and also which also is under renovation, but where we did see this also happening. Unlike also her colleagues who had swollen legs, Akuru said also she did not encounter many challenges on the road, and this is quite an amazing journey. And to you, the Christians out there, maybe who is also with us here, we are saying next time you should also take the walk, because really that is also really something I must say is quite amazing, and really that journey is actually one that must be respected. And she indicated the Good Samaritans brought her food, brought her water, water, and other stars also on their way. And this is also where we did see Mr. Kuru's also 5th time walking. This is also according to also information we are receiving, meaning that she now has the experience, because this is the 5th time she is also walking to Namugongo. And we did see also asking for God's, where we did see her asking God also to bless her so that she can also raise school fees to pay her daughter in there. And this is something I really feel where people who are looking for God's blessings also they must ensure that they be maybe take part at, and that to me also would be quite well and good. And Mr. Lawrence Okello, a 39-year-old also pilgrim that's from a patch in West Nango Diocese, has said also they set off that's alongside several pilgrims that's from the church on May 19th also, but are separated on their way. And this is something also we did see happening in there, as Mr. Okello say boarded ferry that is only up to also Masindi, where he started walking that Nakasongola in there. And he said he was forced to board the taxi to Nakasongola, which brought him also to Kampala on Tuesday after the legs had swollen. I really want to say this is also where people must ensure that also really they are first of all prepared for this journey, because if at all you do not have money, then you may encounter several challenges. And that's why we are saying for those who are moving, you first of all must also not carry hard cash, rather also you need also to put the monies maybe on mobile money, so that's only the thieves who are on this way, who may not be able to spare you, cannot find anything on you, but really you need to have something small on you as also transport, that so that that's only as you may encounter several challenges on the way, because we are seeing so many people encountering several challenges. First of all, the challenge of what we call swollen legs, which has already become a challenge, where really I must say, because of this long journeys, trekking is not an easy thing, but really we are seeing so many people complaining about that. But we are saying we also really ask for them to be patient and also really persistent also in there, so that also really, if at all they are going to give up, then they may not get God's blessings in there. But we are also being told that several challenges are being encountered by these people. First of all, the challenge of food, where the pilgrims are saying that they do not have anything to eat, which is already a great challenge for them. And really that is something also really where I want to ask upon them to also ensure they abide by, and that is also something I must say is quite well and good. And moving on from that now, let's look at what is happening elsewhere in the world of health sector still. Tuturu health sector hospital is struggling to save lives. This is another story we are seeing on this morning, as medical workers at Tuturu hospital, that's the Kumi district, are operating under vital medical equipment. That is also where they are also compromising the services also they are providing to the patients in there. This is something also we are seeing happening. The hospital lacks key equipment in some departments, especially also in the radiology and theater departments. And this is something also we are saying. And the hospital, which was constructed way back in 1969 as the general hospital, that's also with a capacity of about 100 beds, also is now being overwhelmed with also the population around in there, where currently that means more than 300,000, where initially it was meant to accommodate for only 100, and that means that there is need for expansion of this. And despite having the same old structures, which also last got a first lift that in 2018. Today, the hospital is also facing a number of challenges with leaking roofs in some of the wards, which is quite unfortunate, because really for maybe a sick person to be subjected again to these worst conditions is really something that I must say could be unbearable. And the medics observe that the lack of equipment also observes the lack of equipment also is affecting the operations, as Dr. Sarah Axio, the acting medical superintendent, revealed that since 2018, when the X-ray machine broke down, they have also been forced to refer the clients to either Soweto or Mbale hospitals, despite having enough competent also hospital resources also to handle such cases. And that's something we are seeing also within the hospital. But rather, despite them also having the necessary maybe personnel, but the equipment is lacking. And that's only where we are saying the government of Uganda must come to the rescue of these people, so sorry nobody is left behind. And this has caused delays, first of all, in treatment, especially for those patients who cannot afford access to such services, which is really becoming a great challenge, because who cannot be able to move private facilities. And then definitely the hospital where they were also subjected to go to is also where maybe the equipment is not there, and then it becomes a great challenge. And we did see Mr. Robert Achikule, the hospital radiographer, said a team of experts from the Ministry of Health last year visited also the hospital and undertook a study also of the X-ray machine, and recommended the machine generator also needed to be replaced in there. And that's something we did see happening, but really up to now, we are also being told that the machine has not been fixed up to now. And despite all the environmental and health standards associated with handling fumes from medical waste, we also see the hospital has continued burning medical waste in an open area. This has also forced the hospital incinerator to break down since 2018. Up to now, nothing has been done. And really what is also happening, and that's something where we are saying that also should be addressed timely. So also nobody is left behind, and that is something also which I feel I need to talk about as we get to move on with the show, and the district chairman also, Mr. Nelcom Elungat, acknowledged that the challenge that the hospital said the district was also engaging in different also what we call partners, including the health facility, to also address the concerns in there. And now let's look at what is happening elsewhere as we finally get to also the end. And today we want to close the discussions with a message also from police, that is the pilgrims, and that to me also will be quite well. And as we get to move on with the show, police have issued safety guidelines. That's for the pilgrims trekking Namgongo Shrine in the Wakiso district for the Martyrs' Day celebrations. And the police spokesperson, that's Fred Enanga, say the pilgrims should move in groups and avoid moving alone. That's also to avoid also the people taking advantage of them. And he also called the police people to avoid moving also in dark areas, also which could also act as a spot for the criminals to take advantage of them. And this is also where we are saying those who are moving must ensure that they do not also move in these places. And Mr. Nanga also revealed that police territorial commanders have been tasked also to provide safety and security to these pilgrims, and that's why we are saying the police agencies must ensure that they work with these pilgrims. Maybe we did see also another group being handed to the other, which is quite amazing. Maybe within the geographical area where police is not supposed to the other, we are expecting them now first of all to accompany these pilgrims to the final destination. So when they are handing over, there's safety in there. And this is something I must say is quite well. And police revealed that also so far trekking of pilgrims is peaceful, secure, and safe with no any case being registered, because we are seeing information of pilgrims coming all the way from Democratic Republic of Congo. We do have pilgrims coming from Kenya, others from Rwanda, with others also coming from Tanzania, Burundi, and South Sudan as well, who are also really coming from the farthest areas in there. But what we are saying is we must ensure the safety of these pilgrims. So that's also really, maybe when these pilgrims are coming to our nation, we are not reporting cases of them being harmed, which to me wouldn't be quite well, because as somebody is coming to your home, we must always accord them what we call a friendly and a warm environment, so that really they get to understand and they get to also go through some of these activities. And the annual event pays homage to 22 Catholic and 23 Anglican martyrs who were executed on also on orders of Kabaka Mwanga, then also the King of Buganda, in the years of 1885 and 1887 in there, which is also really why the day is being celebrated today. And that is something where I want to also ask you, the viewer, why are you celebrating the Martyrs' Day, and why are you not celebrating the day if at all you are a Christian? Why don't you walk to Namugongo? That is only something also really where I want to ask you as we come to the climax of the days. And that's only where I want to say, as we get to also close of the weekend, tomorrow is Friday, I want to wish you a very good day, and also really say have yourselves a great Thursday, and which will also really usher us into our final edition, which is a Friday. And from me to you, have yourselves a good day, as up next is the news bulletin, up next is the news bulletin Liberty with Mukulia Lawrence. From me to you, have yourselves a good day. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.